Alright, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin and I'm here to present to you this 2003 Honda S2000 review, courtesy of Cary Imports. So I will leave all their information down below because this is actually the cleanest example of an S2000 I could ever find. This thing has a little under 77,000 miles on it, no nonsense modifications, nothing like that. A very rare thing. It's going for about $28,000, and we'll talk more about how to buy something like this later on towards the end of this review. But first, I've heard great things about this car. This is going to be my first time driving one that's not been destroyed or ruined or doesn't have 300,000 miles on it. So if you're a fan of this car, I'm sure you know every little detail and facet of this vehicle. And if you don't, I'm going to link below a kind of press media spec sheet that journalists tend to get when they go to review a vehicle. It'll have all sorts of just insane information about it because there was a lot of work that went into developing this car. And if I went through every little piece and nook and cranny of this car, dude, I can sit here and make a whole documentary of it. But here in this video, I'm going to try and see if this matches up to a little roadster that I have really come to love recently, and that is the ND2 Mazda Miata. Yeah, I get that that's a brand new vehicle and that this is like 20 years old now at this point, but the prices are honestly right up there. This is 28 grand. You can get like a brand new Miata for that much money, and I just want to know, how does this stack up and compare? Obviously two different cars like I already mentioned, but I just want to know if the hype is there. So enough talking, let's go ahead and let's get this bad boy out on the road. I'm kind of breathtaken by this car. Wow, dude, this is even faster than I thought it would be. Damn. Okay, so AP2s no longer rev out to 9,000 RPM. It's still a healthy 8,000, but it's not like this. It really depends on who you are. These S2000s in general, dude, they tear up autocross events all day long. This is really suited for somebody that is really adept at driving, I'll say that much. That's who can really appreciate a car like this. But this is nothing like the ND2 Miata that I love. This is way crazier, way wilder. Oh my god, they're not even comparable, I swear to you. Another thing to note about these cars, the steering rack, even for the AP1 generations, okay, they were an electric steering rack, but this steering rack, it honestly feels like a hydraulic system to me. This is a really well done steering rack. It reminds me a lot of the Porsche electric steering racks as of recently. So this is a really well done vehicle. A lot of attention and detail put into this to make this as exciting as possible. You know, the NSX was a pretty beloved vehicle, but NSXs have gone to a ridiculous price point. Dude, I just want to rev the nuts out of this car. Wow, dude, I can see why these things are going up in value. This is phenomenal. Manual is great. Everything about it is just so enjoyable. But I thought the Miata, the ND2 Miata, had some good character for a four-cylinder, but this just takes the cake. This thing even rides pretty decently as well. Something to keep in mind, this is the 16-inch wheels. The AP2s got updated to a 17-inch wheel. This is a staggered system, 205s up front and 225s in the rear. This has some proper tires on it, Continental cross contacts, I believe, so pretty good tires on it as well. But this is, it doesn't ride like shit. You know, I'll take it over some, you know, worse bumps here. A few little, you know, creaks and rattles and crap that I'm hearing simply because it's been sitting out in the sun for so long. But this engine makes such a large racket that I can't really detect any like wind noise or anything like that. The engine just takes over the entire experience. But man, this is way more fun than that BMW Z3 thing that I just drove. Brakes are really good as well. let me talk a little bit to you about some of the chassis. It's got a high X-brace structure or chassis system going on. So what that means is like the chassis kind of makes like this little X shape for the bracing of the chassis or something like that. So that helps with the rigidity of this vehicle. As well as the safety of it. AP1's known for getting a little sideways on you, and that's pretty true. This rear end seems very twitchy. Yeah, that's pretty good right there. So as I just demonstrated there, the the chassis performance is amazing, and a lot of that has to do with that X-brace system I was talking to you about before I got interrupted. But anyway, they had to make this chassis as stiff as possible because this is a roadster in the true sense. This has only been made as a convertible, and they wanted to make this as stiff as possible. This is an extremely stiff chassis as far as roadsters go. This is more dynamic. The engine is more impressive than an ND2 Miata, and I can see why it's going up in value. Don't get me wrong, I still love the Miata, but it's definitely a buy. I would get in right now before these things shoot up to like $40,000, $50,000. I mean, some of them already have. I've seen like a near brand new AP2, I believe, with only 1,000 miles on it, selling for over $70,000. Yeah, prices are ridiculous. This is still, I mean, it's not like a low mileage car. It's got 77,000 miles on it and still demanding damn near $30,000. So I would definitely buy something like this right now. I'm telling you, the driving experience is worth it. I can see why a lot of adept drivers like to use this for autocross because, yeah, this thing just keeps pulling and pulling, and it's fast as hell too. Like, I mean, a lot of people, they bag on this car for being slow, but it does 0 to 60 in around 5.5 seconds. AP2's got updated to the 2.2 liters. Technically, the AP2 is a better car, especially on paper anyway. They balanced the chassis out a little bit, made some suspension tweaks, and a little bit more torque, like 9 pounds-feet of torque more. This is, what, 240 horse, 153 pounds-feet of torque. The AP2's got 162 pounds-feet of torque. So I think as a whole, the AP2 would make for the better street car. A little bit more of a balanced chassis setup, so I think a lot of people kind of like that, but I think more hardcore drivers would like to conquer this twitchy AP1. The ride quality is actually decent. It's not going to beat you up too much. The car's not being unsettled over the bumps either. Yeah, the chassis truly is great. That X-brace technology, it's not BS, it's not marketing. They really did a great job here. This is like the level of excitement that is completely missing in this turbocharged era of cars, man. Like, none of the new cars I've driven as of right now have been this exciting. So I think you get the point. Let's go ahead and let's transition over into the interior segment. Okay, this car, when new, was about $34,000, $35,000, something like that was the original MSRP price of an S2000. Well, I can see why it's that expensive because, to be honest, this is a better interior than you would expect for a little roadster like this. I kind of said the same thing about the Miata. I mean, the Miata has a surprisingly good interior for, you know, what it is, like a sports car. But this is wrapped in really nice leather. I mean, yeah, it's all red in here, so that gives it a phenomenal character. But I'm just saying, just the quality of the seats, you know, nice leathers. Despite it being 20 years old, the leather has held up pretty well, even on the side here. And the rest of it is like the soft touch kind of rubbery material as well. And everything about this interior space is absolutely simplistic. That's what this thing is all about. So all the controls are centered towards the driver here, and you have this F1 styled gauge cluster system here. It's all electronic, looks great, looks timeless. Everything about this car is timeless, from the exterior design to this interior design. And aside from a couple of rattles here and there, which is totally acceptable for a car like this, it's actually a decently refined space as well. Like I mentioned, the ride quality is good. I can't really comment on the wind noise or anything like that, or tire noise, because the engine is just so damn loud. Got yourself a little Alpine unit here, a little USB with the radio and the little CD player as well. And sound system is decent. I mean, it's whatever, though. You're going to be listening to that 9,000 RPM four-cylinder. That's what you're going to be listening to in here. You actually have one touch auto down window for the driver's side only. It doesn't go up one touch, which is dumb, but whatever. I don't really care in a vehicle like this. These doors feel really solid when you open and close them. They feel nice and heavy, nice and sturdy, really, as I should say. And the main thing to note is, well, you can't really adjust anything. You kind of recline this seat forward and back, but that's about it. If you're a shorter individual, you're going to have to put some phone books, a cushion, something underneath yourself. Or you can buy a little bracket, I think, that can raise the seat up. But otherwise, yeah, you're not moving the seat. You have to conform to the vehicle, okay? You can't move the steering wheel. It's not telescopic. Of course, perfect for me. I'm 5'11". Getting in and out of this vehicle isn't terrible, but it's definitely a low slung car. But yeah, I mean, this seating position is they nailed it for me. But anybody shorter than me, it might be a problem seeing over the hood. Kind of unfair for certain individuals, but it's just how they made the car, so something to keep in mind. There's no glove box, just a small little cubby space here in the back, and this is also where you access the trunk release button. Otherwise, you don't really have much of an armrest. Well, you do. You can just rest your arm here, but it doesn't open up for more storage space. You do have a little, I guess you can call that a cup holder if you want to. So you can take the roof off here, and you can enjoy another aspect of this car that we didn't even cover, and that's driving with the top down. Could you imagine just how damn good this thing sounds with the top down? Holy crap, dude. I mean, the sounds in this thing is insane as it is. Take the top off, and man, this is one hell of an experience. I would take this over any Porsche I've ever driven. Well, I haven't driven a GT3, but damn, dude, get in on this car while you can. That's all I have to say. I'll end off with the trunk, and the trunk is there. It's very small, and it doesn't really matter. You're not buying this for practicality, although I will say if you are taller, you do have a lot of space here as far as headroom goes. Passenger, who cares? You have a seat here. That's all I need to know about. Let's go ahead and let's conclude this review. Okay, I talked about at the beginning, you know, if you're interested in buying this car, there are a few issues that you're going to run into. First, this is a 20-year-old car at this point. You're not going to really be able to find financing for this vehicle. So one of the few ways that you can finance this car is through a system called Lightstream, which is offered by Truist Bank, which was before known as SunTrust and BB&T. So if you have like good credit, if it's under $100,000 and you're looking for an auto loan, they'll pretty much just pass you on the spot. So that's one of the few ways I found that you can finance, you know, older vehicle like this. But you do have to have phenomenal credit, but I don't really know of any other way aside from paying cash to buying this. So that leads me to the other thing. I mentioned how great this car is to drive as an autocross car or just a track it in general. It's got a beautiful chassis. It reacts so well. Even this AP1 that's known for being twitchy. I could have got this car sideways when I was driving it before, but obviously I kept it in check because I don't want to slide this car, destroy their tires or anything like that, or risk putting this thing into a ditch. So that's the thing. I could control this car, even this AP1. So the AP2s are even more balanced. You can have a lot of fun driving the piss out of this car on a track, but do you want to do that is the question. I encourage people to do it, but it's just like, you know, this thing is only going to go up in value if you treat it well, if you maintain it well, and you don't put too many miles on it. You keep it as a fun little weekend toy. That's pragmatically probably the smart way to enjoy this car. Whereas, like, you know, you buy a new Miata, you can drive the piss out of that thing. It's got a warranty on it. You know, it depends. It's a hard thing for me to tell somebody to not drive it hard and not to enjoy it properly, because you should. That's what this thing is made for. This thing would be amazing on an autocross. So for the few people out there that are really driving the hell out of this car, congrats, man. This is so rewarding. That's the main takeaway here, is this thing is rewarding to drive. So I'll leave Cary Imports information down in the description box if you want to buy this super clean vehicle. It's a consignment car, one owner, 77K miles. You saw the vehicle in its condition, good paint quality, all that crap. So there you go. But even if this is not the car that you want to buy, any other clean S2000 that's near you, absolutely go ahead and buy it. So thank you so much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye.